So it looks like Trump has won the election, um, and it seems like, let me see, less than half the American population has voted. Um, so there are millions of people out there, probably the majority, who don't see the point in voting. Um, and of course, uh, the polarization in politics is deliberate. A lot of people have been told, no, no, Trump, no, you can't vote for him. And then because Trump's been demonized so much in the media, by design, because don't forget the demonization of Trump is designed to make him popular, funnily enough. But the question is this: if we truly had common sense, 90% of people would vote for the same candidate. I mean, after all, we're all human beings, and in a way, we should all have the same wishes, the same desires. I mean, how is it possible that in a democracy, let's just pretend that these figures are correct, right? And let's just admit that even people who voted for Trump don't necessarily think he's the best man in America for the job, and don't necessarily think that he would be their perfect candidate. They're voting for him, not just because some of them like him, but a lot of them are voting for him simply because they don't like Harris. And the same thing applies to Harris. The people who support her will often be people who simply don't like Trump. They may not like Harris. I mean, Harris is linked to Biden. So what they thought they'd do is, okay, Biden's unpopular, so let's just give a new face. Harris. Harris will be the candidate. So then people think, okay, all these years of shit policies from Biden, we're going to forgive you. The sniffing of children. The guy's a pedo. He used to shower naked with his daughter. I mean, and molest her. I mean, with your own daughter. I mean, if adult men are attracted to teenage girls belonging to other people, if you like, that's one thing. But he actually wanted to molest his own daughter. That's incestuous, apart from anything else. So the difference between Trump and Harris, according to this poll, is 51.2 to 47.2. It's very similar, actually, to the EU referendum results. Nobody, and of course, even if Trump had 5% of his votes subtracted by vote fraud, he can't really say, I don't accept the result. He could say, he might say, listen, vote fraud has robbed me of 5 million votes. I mean, the truth of the matter is, I do not have access to the data to know whether or not vote fraud has taken place. There are millions and millions of absentee ballots in America. There's millions and millions of postal votes in America. People living in other countries can vote in American elections. So you can be absolutely certain that there is vote fraud. The question is to what extent. But also I need to point out, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't actually matter if you voted for Trump or not. Because both of these candidates it's a win for Israel. Netanyahu's already congratulated Trump and looking forward to even more handouts. Trump always says America first. Let's see if Trump stops weapons shipments to Israel. Let's see if Trump stops giving billions to Israel, which they can use to destroy Palestinian homes. October the 7th. What a load of shit that was. Magnificent victory. I don't think it is a magnificent victory. Because if these results are true, and of course Trump can't exactly say they're not because he has won, albeit very narrowly, according to these numbers. But the question is, are there really 63,795,151 Americans so stupid that they would vote for Harris? I can just about understand why people are being fooled by Trump. He does talk the talk. he survived an assassination attempt. What a load of bollocks that was. It was faked. It was fucking faked. He must have bitten on a capsule of blood or something. Oh, my shoes, my shoes. Yeah, that's right. He lost his shoes, did he? What a load of shite. But you see, even people who kind of realise that it was shite still kind of support him. Think about it. Do you think it's moral to fake an assassination attempt? He was in on it. There was no shooter. It was all staged shit. So let's have a look at the live updates. I mean, I guarantee you nothing whatsoever is going to change in America. Zionism will still rule the roost. You'll still have the privately owned Federal Reserve. America will still continue to give money to Israel and Ukraine, which will only make the world situation more dangerous. I doubt very much whether illegal immigrants are going to get deported. If that's one of his policies, and if he does actually do that, then he will deserve support. Because, for example, I don't think it's right that Britain is being invaded by immigrants. And frankly, I would like to say this. I think we need to have a massive crackdown on legal immigrants, because legal immigration is actually just as much as a threat as so-called illegal immigration. Illegal immigration isn't even illegal immigration. The RNLI are being allowed to ship people in, right? They're allowed to pretend to rescue people from France, bring them to the UK, where they will be put up in hotels owned often by Jewish businessmen. Yeah, the Jews. The owner of the Britannia hotel chain, I think they own Butlins or Pontins, I'm not sure which, makes millions from this. And meanwhile, the Jews complain about immigration, but they never seem to explain, they never kind of say, yeah, we support it. We support open borders. We support globalization. We support the EU. I remember after the 2016 referendum, where I voted leave, the Jewish community were very, very angry. And many of them were clamouring for German passports. Can you imagine? German passports. You know why? Because some of their ancestors fled to Britain before World War II, and then they repay us by poor old Germany. I feel sorry for the Germans. Most German people have been brought up to believe the Holocaust myth. It's a complete lie, of course. But just because something isn't well known doesn't mean it's not the truth. History is written by the winners, and they basically can trick people. I mean, how would we know what happened? I mean, a lot of things, Joan of Arc, Guy Fawkes. I mean, we've just had Guy Fawkes night. It's very, very likely that the Guy Fawkes story was anti-Catholic at the day. In those days, the Catholics were the enemy du jour, in much the same way as Muslims are now, or Russians, or North Koreans or something, or Iranians. I mean, they tell us who our enemies are. They're not my enemies. I'm not an enemy of Russian people. I like Russia. I like Russia a lot. North Korea isn't my enemy either. I understand their psychosis, but if I was the North Korean leader, I'd just put endless reruns of transgender schooling in the Western world, and men dressed as women and so on. I wonder what North Korean people make of that. I mean, and we think they're freaky. We're even more freaky than they are. But the thing is, because we in the West have a decent lifestyle, we can go to the shops and buy mangoes and bananas and papaya. Because of that, because of the creature comforts we enjoy, we think we're normal, but we're not. We're not normal. We're not normal. We don't live a normal life. We're pumped full of fucking additives and injections, flavourings, artificial this, artificial that, sweeteners and everything. So, there you go. Now I want to show you an interesting picture, which is evidence that the whole thing is staged. Right? I'm going to show it to you. Wait a second, I'm just going to find it. Right, there's Trump, and there is his son on the left. Look what he's doing with his hands. That's a symbolic Freemason hand sign. It's used by all these fuckers He's flashing a sign that everything is being rigged. If you see anyone doing that, and you'll see it very often, politicians do it all the time, Angela Merkel did it all the time, it's a gang sign. It's a gang sign. These people are criminals, organised criminals. He's not just making a random, he just didn't just so happen to do that. He's flashing a sign, right? A gang sign. It's a criminal conspiracy. People are being tricked into supporting these people. There's nothing new under the sun. This isn't a proper election. It's a selection. It's just like wrestling or Tyson versus somebody else. And then they get the public to choose a person. Both of these people are in it for the money. They'll both get paid. So from their point of view, the hype, the pre-fight aggression and the pointing of fingers and jive talk and all the rest of it is all part of the theatre. Right? Harris and Trump aren't really enemies. If you look at American presidents, after elections, they're all, you see Bush and Obama and Clinton, they're all hanging out together. These aren't genuine rivals. This isn't a democracy. To be a democracy, you have a lot of people who have got independent policies and who truly are motivated primarily, but not exclusively, for the benefit of the country. Sure, people are ambitious. Sure, there might be people who want to be president just because it's kind of a cool thing, like you want to win a tennis match. It doesn't mean that it really matters. You don't become a better person than someone else just by winning a game. But, we live in a world where success is deemed everything. Success, money. Look at that hand sign that's Trump's son. Right? I don't know, I can't remember his name now. I mean, Trump's children have all married Jews, right? Zionist Jews. And there's going to be no change in policy. The Israel controls America. They've admitted it. Netanyahu said so, right? I mean, are you calling him a liar? Do you think our beloved Netanyahu, do you think he would lie to the public? No, they've admitted it. They control America. And the Americans let them control America. And that's it. So there you go. There's been another election, but I can give you a guarantee. Today is the 6th of November, and in a year's time, you can come back here and we'll discuss Trump's year in office. Will he die? Will he be assassinated? Right? Or will it look like he's been assassinated? Do you think America's going to get better? But whatever, if you do believe in democracy, or if you do believe in the election result, and I don't believe this is an accurate result. It may well be that Trump got more votes than Harris, but it doesn't mean that that's the actual number of votes he got. They might have subtracted 5 million votes from what he got, or 10 million, I don't know, right? Because votes can be stolen or rigged, and they are, just like the last time. So all I'm saying is that I'm not so naive as to imagine that this is going to make America a better place. All I'm saying is that although I don't like Trump because he's a Zionist, I do appreciate the fact that the majority of people who support him are more likely to be on the right side of history than the people who oppose him. So I'm not voting for Trump, but I do prefer his support base, right? I do prefer his support base, even though most of them are very naive about the way things work. America is not a democracy. America is bankrupt. When I say bankrupt, I mean it will be impossible for them to pay their debts. But ask yourself who they owe the money to, then you'll get your answer. Thanks for your time.